given the number of people attending, I think it is actually. What I'm going to talk about is in 2000, October 2000, a hacker hacked one of the electrical servers. We thought at first he was smarter than he actually was. Turned out so we decided to trace him and see what was actually happening. So I'm going to talk about the software we used to trace him and show some actual traces so you can see on screen a real DDoS session happening live, well recorded live, like that. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about, I already covered this. In fact, well, I'm going to talk about contact insertion. Next, well, we hacked. Well, how do you know you're hacked? Well, one of the first things we mentioned is one of our employees had his prompt changed. He knew his environment good enough that he was suspicious enough good enough that they hacked into his account where the user used for reading mail and they installed an alias and overwrote some other config file. So his prompt was changed as a result. Well, he typed loss and installed an old login from electrical.nl, which is our name server. Which is really odd because you don't use the name server to log into your account where you read your email. You it usually goes the other way around. Well, we also found out that loss and W on NS2 didn't show anything. It's not another obvious clue. SSHD was compromised. It was running Red Hat. We did RPM signature check and it just said, well, the binary is compromised. So, okay, well, we been hacked. Now what? First thing was to isolate. We decided to quickly see, or quickly try to prevent the hacker from getting anywhere else. So we searched for the accounts that could be compromised. It turned out that 2 employees had probably had compromised passwords, and we didn't trust the root password on the machine either because we didn't exactly know how he got root. So we decided to change the root password on all the other machines except on, except the machine itself. So leave the compromised machine itself intact because we wanted to study the hacker. Now we were not sure how we got in. Actually, the logs were obviously truncated. That's one of the first things you do when you get root. You don't scriptedly know that. And the machine was just running bind and SSHD. Latest, well, not really the latest version, but no exploitable versions that we are aware of. At least so we thought. A bit of floppy maintenance there. It turned out later to be. But we suspected that binding into P3, which is then the most recent version, compromised because we also detected the namely binary in a strange temporary directory that was modified from the original. We didn't start it, we didn't find anything really strange, but we couldn't figure out how it got there. Actually, that was one of the unsolved things. Apparently, the hacker played the naming because he didn't. In the end, it turned out he could get into that. Okay, so what did we do? We wanted to spy on this hacker, and it was all like you're in a hurry. You notice your machine is compromised, and you need to do. You've already changed stuff, so you want to be able to spy on the hacker as soon as he gets in again, because we found it out during the afternoon or something, maybe in the morning, and we saw that he usually logged in evening time, our time, maybe midnight, which would probably locate him somewhere else, and on his during the day there already. So what we did was a quick hack. We didn't have sort of time to install all the various options that we're talking about, like installing kernel modules that was way too advanced for us. So we had another setup. We just hacked a couple of scripts to do what we want. We knew the hacker was getting into SSHD because that was the one we replaced. It both blocked passwords and it allowed them to make a secret backdoor. So we wanted to capture his keystrokes, and well, obviously you can't run TCP down because that will only give you an encrypted traffic. So what we did was run strace on the SSHD. So we run netstat and search for connection to port 22 that we didn't see in the previous netstat run. Then run else off to find the corresponding process that was linked to that connection, and then just run S-trace to get a session, and then store the log somewhere in RCP along the system. Because we couldn't obviously use SSH because that was the one that was compromised. Well, we then, of course, after this went fine for one day, we had to hide the software because we thought we were dealing with someone who had an as yet unknown exploit to blind. So we were really careful to hide things. Also, the hacker had already seen suspicious log entries because we were already following him. We saw that he was looking at logs, and at one point he had on a screen something that said every 5 minutes there's an R copy started on. I think it was LMRC, where that he named the log file. Yeah, whatever. And that was, to me, it looked suspicious enough that apparently the hacker either was kept feeling dehydrated or whatever, and he didn't see it, he didn't notice it. But we wanted him to prevent, if he ever saw it again, that he would notice and investigate. And the RCP command was generating logging that was bothered us. How do you get the stuff off the machine? So we needed a way to hide the copies, basically. So what we did was, well, this is actually what we did from the beginning. Is, we don't use LSOF and S-trace because the hacker was using PS to see all the processes and then he sees S-trace. It's sort of an obvious sign that something knows something is going on, especially if it has -P than your shell. This is the DNS server, so we use a script add domain which we run internally anyway, and we get another name or another directory and another script called DNS check, which is actually S-trace. A few other tricks we use for the parameter S-trace, which is really well, which is pretty called DNS check. We use the square of the bit, so we just grab the source and took the square root of the argument, and that hit things quite nicely. Easy trick, but yeah. We trivially encrypted the log files. This is an XOR with OXCC. I will not claim that this is a very good way to encrypt anything. In fact, it's probably worse than log 13. But it did prevent the hacker from ever running strings over files that were generated log files and instantly seeing what was going on because his keystroke would be in there. So we just wanted to have files that weren't easily readable. I mean, still easily crackable, but we weren't sure yet what we're dealing with. The biggest courtesy of another colleague of mine who's sitting here in the audience, and he said, well, it's a name server, why don't we use this just use name to transfer the zone stuff? So I converted the log files, I dezipped them, and I converted them to really huge IPv6 zone files where a record has 60 bytes, so I'll show you an example of the zone later. That's really fun. Okay, oh yeah, and that's another thing we did. We backdoored our own bin RF, because in our log file we were constantly seeing the FTP software or DCC get software stuff, installed it on the machine, compiled it, and then removed everything again. So we thought, well, we want to have that source, so why don't we installed a modified version of RM that just moved it to /lost/found /dot/space or something. I don't know. It's not really obvious. In fact, that almost gave us away because we forgot to tell update about the special directory, and a while later he typed locate to locate his tools, and we saw them all sitting in a very suspicious directory somewhere. Okay, we got a concern about this, obviously, because we were hacked. We were tracing him, and he was masked exploiting lots of forms. Actually, they were all Linux. Obviously, we used standard exploits to tell the LPD exploits being used. We didn't really know what the names of the tools were not that obvious. We only saw the names of the tools. And we said, well, we possibly have a new name, the exploit, and thousands of own boxes, and we're busy tracing the hacker. So CERT was really interested. He said, well, okay, well, we'll help you. are you sure that it's a name the actual host on the modified executable body class 1? And we did some more checking of our own, and this is the bit embarrassing point. It turned out to be RPC static. We installed a default Red Hat, what was it, 6.5.2, whatever. It was reasonably new at that time, but we forgot to disable RPC static. We just got an old backup back, and we noticed that RPC static was running. So then we contacted CERT again, and they immediately lost interest. He said, well, okay, this is a standard script kiddie, and he's doing, but we said, well, he owns several thousand boxes. Oh, they weren't really forthcoming or trying to be helpful in reaching the system, etc. So what did we do? What did we do? We made an empty rootkit. It turned out that he had a standard rootkit that he used to install software, and we just made sure that we had the right RPMs and we knew which extra binaries he installed. So we made a simple README which said, okay, delete these files, install these RPMs, and possibly get them from a non-trusted source, and then also make these modifications to your system, like do not run LPD, do not run RPC static, etc. So we distributed that along the, we put it up on the web, please, and told compromised networks about it. But that's another barrier we ran into, and I think it also surfaced in the DDoS panel, that we didn't get it was really hard first getting to the right people. First, you're first up with help desk people who don't know what's going on. Then it's really something really hard to convince people of seriousness. Like, look, you have 800 boxes in your network that are compromised. They're probably running some sort of DDoS agent, and you need to fix these boxes. And they just said, oh, well, who cares? Or, well, at least that's what it looks like. They just didn't reply. And in general, few operators actually responded properly on our contact, so we were a bit disappointed with that. Okay, I now realize that I forgot to do something interesting. I'll just do it right anyway. Okay, I'll make a connection to. No, this is going to be. No, probably still only. Yeah, Quake. So do you want to play Quake instead of listening to it? Okay. I'll just go to the. We made a copy of the NS2 machine to prevent further embarrassment. I'll just make an SSH session there, and I'll type something, and then later on we'll play it back so you can see it's working, and you can see the responses trying to be generated. Passwords I use will be modified really quickly.
Window to the right.
Yes. Well. Okay. I'll try. Somebody in. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Now I'm not getting any motivation. I can't see here what I'm doing. I'm trying to fix that thing. Wow. Of technology. Can I have my mouse back, please? What's going on? There it is. Okay. Okay, well, so I sat enter a few times. I go, hello, world. Anyone wants to see? Maybe yes. I'm not really interested in yes. Okay, this is just a bit of, well, you can see the, there's the rule, one row safety. That's one of the scripts that checks for new connections. And this is just running the NSX with the, with the large argument. If you take the square photograph, anybody can do that by habit to get the PID of the SSH feed. That's on the next line, probably. Generally, there's lots of transcenders, that's not really interesting. Okay, Then I'll go and show you what this looks like. And then you put your connection somewhere else. Thank you. I can't see what I'm typing. Okay, so this is what his own file looks like. It's really interesting. Well, anybody here, a bit of a, where you can see the first, the records are obviously sorted, and you see the first record actually starts with 8B1 after, and you recognize the TZ magic by that, but that's it actually. So what do we do to get this, these files? Well, first we have a simple script that's called lslog. It takes an optional first argument that is the actual AXFR already, because we're going to process a lot of it, so it creates it if it's not there. But if it is there, it just grabs for 5 zeros and then prints whatever is after it. And, or prints the first argument and then switches the 0000. Because we just transferred the files as the sequence number and then the file name after it. And then we also have a script called catwalk. It's a tool script. Again, it generates the source when there's none specified, and it just it gets it does the AXFR, which is basically its own method, and it simply grabs for the file name, sorts it numerically, so you have all the records, because the first record starts with 000, so all the records of the file are given in order, and then you specify to unzip, and we get the IP address and convert it into 16 bytes and feed it to unzip, and that generates the file. I hope that by now our previous demo has resulted in a file. I can say mark these files. Hopefully this will get me. Get files is a script that just calls these two scripts and transfers everything that's there. And we didn't make a script to and then it keeps on running and does it every 5 minutes. And so it lists all the files on the remote server and gets them all, and the LMRC file is a log file that contains, well, where I'm connected from. Oh yes, that's my talk here. I got a connection to this IP address from this IP address established. Okay, looks good. Well, let me run a script called trace. I forgot the file name. This is starting to look prepared already. Again? Yeah. Okay, now, watch what this does. This is the playback script that I wrote. Analyzes the space files and then does this. Yeah, that's it truncates waiting period. So here we see the same thing I just did. Okay, now we also got some interesting sessions that I wanted to show you. Which one we I think the root one is interesting. Oh, no, the export one is good. The 2 means double speed. I can also use no. So we see the hacker bit. Oh, that's one. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so he always makes this mistake. That his file is xw. He goes into a separate directory and looks at a, a mass exploiter that, oh, there it is. Yeah, slower? Okay, oh well. I'll start again. I'll use normal speed. I'll sit next here. Interrupt this, and set this file again. That's the same type that we saw regularly. Now I see these into some directory and something else. And that's where his exploit script starts. He starts up an editor, or he starts with a program, detaches it, and later on looks for vulnerable hosts. Look, I'll stop here. So this script generated a file of vulnerable hosts, and he used RPC exploits, and the script just said, well, I can't run VLAN and I can't use it for portable boxes. So then he goes on by telnetting to the box, and see that one's closed, that one isn't working either, and he's telnetting to his box, and now he has, this is a backdoor. Currently he cuts and pastes something that will fetch something from the remote host that they probably own some. Okay, he goes on with another host. Oh, right. He now got the zip file, which is actually a tar file, which contains a bunch of stuff, and then he's getting again. Now, at some point, he installs the actual kit. Oh yeah, this is another trick. He sets display to a password and then tells it somewhere, and it gives him an immediate root comp. And this is the kit he just installed. So what's just messing around in this box? I don't know what this all is, but it's not. Get this one for now. Well, why did we do it this way? Instead of just cutting off the hacker when we saw it. First of all, we thought he was we thought he had a working name, the exploit that wasn't known yet. So we wanted to trace him for that. When we found out that he actually used RPC study, we could have closed him down. But instead we realized that when we closed our machine down, he will just use one of the other thousands of boxes that he compromised to use that as a stepping stone. And at least now we had a tap on it, and we could also tease it by, for example, null routing the hosts that he was connecting to that were compromised too. So in the end, we had him connecting from a DSL box in Canada, which was totally unlike all of the other boxes that he connected from, in that it looked actually pretty secure from the outside, so that was possibly his home box. We can't be really sure of course, but it looked like it. We actually talked to the Canadian provider, and at some point they disconnected his modem, but later on he was on it, or at least the same attacks happened from another IP address from the same provider, so they either disconnected him, or I don't know, and reconnected him, or whatever, I don't know. Hard to keep track. There might be another interesting session to show. Yes, it is. Because this is where it actually, well, you see, take that program. No, he doesn't even check the machine whether it's belongs to him. He just goes on to other machines and makes a few mistakes in the process. I don't know why he's doing it. Now he tells us into some port which turns out to be, we think it's a new client, types in the password in there. We're now talking to a Trino client, and then he says, he cuts and pastes something in the machine and answers, okay, I'm packaging blah, blah, blah. So these machines are currently dead. This is all there is to it to be scripted. Know your tools and know a bit about IP addresses. Now he goes on to, I can't recall what's in this session here. Okay, well we'll just see whether this is interesting or not. The fun thing about doing it this way is that, oh yeah, I started exploiting all sorts of stuff. S is, I think, scanner. It stands for a couple of boards. My biggest fan, my daughter is also sitting in the office, starting already this day, 10 months. What do you mean? So now I can say what this is good for. Is the hacker actually in the audience? Well, he's Canadian, probably, so I wouldn't expect him. But if he is, can you please not share? Sorry? I don't know. It's some sort of, well, it's the new client apparently. It's some sort of client that sits on a machine somewhere on a compromised machine, and that is a DDoS client. So it can just be told to start. Well, it probably has other. I don't know exactly how it works. That wasn't part of my job. So there's people in the group who can tell you.
Well, I think I want, and what they do is it's really funny that they use RC proxy, so they're logging into RC channel. And all the machines are compromised do something the same.
Yeah, so they right from the RC channel.
Like the same, like all the stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So that's probably what he's doing. Yeah, so now he's back at our machine and while doing it again.
You can know that all the machines basically the same day and same time.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the actual DDoS session going on. Are there any more questions? We found that out. It was some ADSL modem or some cable modem.com, whatever. Probably other ISC kiddies. They weren't attacking like whitehouse.gov or Yahoo or anything. Even though he had at one point, I think, compromised over 1,000 machines, and this total must have been in the order of 4,000. If he actually used all of them to DDoS some big site, it would have gone down. But he just used it to DDoS other script kiddies, IRC files, whatever.
What did you do with the small authorities?
We didn't quite follow up to the authorities, actually. We decided that this, actually, it was, so this is really hard for the authorities because it was a crime being committed probably outside of the Netherlands through our machines, affecting mostly machines outside of the Netherlands. We figured that the amount of hassle that would involve with authority, we'd rather fix it through, common internet channels like CERT, or just contacting network operators. And, well, as I said, that turned out to be a big of a disappointment. So, this was September 2000, about a year ago.
This is stage 3. Stage 3 is close to wrapping up.
Well, yes, definitely. He had an automated script doing something. I think I had a session of that too. He goes into a machine and cut and paste something that fetches the client, fetches the client using links, unpacks it, starts it, changes, compromises some of the binaries in this. It detested itself. We saw him do that to a bunch of boxes. So he had a standard exploit kit that gave him a root prompt, but not in the way he wanted. And he probably wrote another script to turn the machine into the new client that he wanted it to have. It's not going to happen.
How the machine looks like, what is the hardware you're running,
He wasn't really interested in that at all. He was interested in whether or not we catched him. But in the beginning, he was really looking around, looking at log files. But in the end, he began popping it. And popping didn't look around it at all. In the beginning, he used the W to see whether anybody was on, but that was back. I mean, the W there was back door, so he wouldn't see anything anyway. We have an IRC session, but he only uses it to transfer files, not like really like, I hacked this. Sorry.
So what you found out that he was attacking all the boxes from your box. Were you afraid of liability or something? That someone would come to you?
Yes, a bit. It turned out that he wasn't attacking that many boxes. Also, we didn't want that to happen, so we installed port filters, so he actually couldn't reach the vulnerable ports on other machines, although he wouldn't notice. But he was still using our machine as a stepping stone.
Okay.
So in the beginning, he was using it as a stepping stone, going somewhere else and running the exploits there. So we were like, well, okay. But then when he was running the exploits on our machine, we actually started teasing him by just blocking ports or whatever. I think he just thought our network was bad and he moved somewhere else. Anyway.
How long did you allow this to go on?
How long? A couple of weeks, I think. I can't recall.
What?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, just to learn. It was happening really slowly. So, for example, he would start the compromise session and then come back the other day to see what had happened. And he was just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And we were basically waiting for him to, at some point, show up and do interesting fixes until we found out it was RPC sadly. And then we were still into contacting network operators saying that your boxes have been compromised, and we didn't want to close it down at a point immediately because he might be able to detect that and then go to all the other boxes and somehow secure them again so we could figure out what was going on. It was basically when we found out that nobody was really interested that we just decided to stop it because all of the logs that it was generating weren't being helpful because frankly, well, this took a lot of time. We don't have the time to go to all those network operators and say that, well, your machine is compromised and repeat the same explanation over and over again. So then we just decided that it wasn't worth it. We could have done.
Did you notice after you stopped him that you tried to connect again?
No, we just saw a couple of connections and he just gave up. We didn't see anything special happening afterwards. No.
Did you change any policy procedure?
Yes, we did. This was an eye-opener for us regarding security. We then we started keeping a much closer watch on our machine as well.
What's going on? This machine is still your secondary name server?
Yes. In fact, we just because net servers are really hard to move. You have to go to internet and other local registries and have the IP address changed. And it turned out that he didn't do anything damaging to our network. And a secondary name server is just, I mean, it's just a process sitting there and it doesn't need that much attention. So we did keep a close watch on him, and at some point, I think he was disabling ping or some sort, and that was near the end. That was when we started getting irritated by him. So we replaced ping again, and he disabled it again, and so we kicked him off. I think I can't recall exactly, but yeah. So, but he didn't really do anything damaging to our customers. I mean, he could have changed some files potentially, but he didn't touch that.
He stopped it.
No, we didn't. We weren't managed to. We weren't able to talk to him. I couldn't find his IRC link or anything. He just used tests or tests with double T IRC whenever he used IRC, and we weren't able to actually talk to him. Well, thank you all for.
What time is the next one?
This is the last one.
Are we going to break it up then?